Organization Committee. It's the regular CPC meeting agenda, being held at the Don B. Griffin Room, Harwich Town Hall, 732 Main Street, Harwich, Mass., 6 p.m. on Thursday, September 11th, 2025. Welcome guests. Are there any comments from the public? Hearing none, moving on. Can I get an approval of the minutes of June 12th, 2025? That's the joint session, and June 23rd, 2025.
Okay, so June 12th, 25 was the public hearing and our regular meeting. June 23rd was the joint session.
Okay, got it.
So I make a motion to accept the minutes from both June 12th and June 23rd, 25.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion? No discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, new business, discussion and vote committee reorganization.
I move to nominate David as chair for the next year.
You're evil.
Things seems to come around very quickly, doesn't it?
It really does.
Doesn't it?
I have no idea.
It's like a birthday.
Yeah.
That being said, I move
No,
to
this is
nominate
late.
David Nixon as our chair for the
like
next
2 months
fiscal year.
True, you're right. It is late, but still. Oh, there's a
Okay,
second.
there's a nomination and a second. Discussion.
Move to close nominations.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I move to appoint Kathy Green as our vice chair for the next fiscal year.
I second.
Do we need a vice chair, really?
Yes, of course we do.
Someone's gonna torture me.
That's right.
Yeah, keep him in line.
Like I said,
It's not easy.
okay,
I
this
move
is,
to close nominations for vice chair.
all right, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
No one else wants to do it?
thank you. Too late.
Like,
Okay, moving
Good
on.
at it, Kathy.
We're gonna get into the discussion of the grant agreements. So,
where are you on this thing?
we're right at
Oh, I got the wrong.
B.
Okay.
So I'm gonna let Mary and Kathy take the floor.
Oh.
Whomever wants to
So
start.
I will own up to the fact that I finally sent a draft revision for Kathy to take a look at. And I think part of the discussion was noting that we have two different situations. One where you are dealing with reimbursing people on invoices, and then a second where we are putting the money out and giving everybody, the full, giving some people the full sum, like the housing trust. So I put a space holder in there for that in the draft. And I also think it's worth having council explore audit rights in situations. So that the town has the right to go back and audit a project or audit an entity to ensure that money was spent properly. So, I mean, that's just a space holder suggestion that I put in with some of the other changes. It really wasn't much. I added a few definitions and added I hope a little bit of clarification, but legitimately, Kathy just got that late this afternoon. I thought I had sent it out a month ago, so. So there's absolutely no way she possibly could have looked at it.
I couldn't have looked at it, yeah, not yet. Yeah, so mostly we just tried to clean up the existing grant agreement. We tried to make it consistent and understandable, consistency with some of the words. We tried to address a couple of little things that we required to make sure they were written in here. And I guess once she and I think this is the right thing to show everybody, I think the next step would be for it to, once we agree, for it to go to the Board of Selectmen. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
it's their grant agreement.
So this is not gonna be used for this year's applicants, or not this, the current batch of applicants that were passed at town meeting, anyway, so
Right.
this is moving forward. And I was just telling Dave that I'm on another board, and we had applied for CPA funds in another town, and were awarded those funds, and therefore I got a chance to look at their grant agreement and sort of some other paperwork that they give to their applicants regarding the grant agreements. And I think it's something that, I mean, obviously, we don't want to do all of it, but we could take a look at it and maybe glean a couple things from it. One thing that they do is they assign a person from the committee to follow through with that applicant. That's the contact person that the applicant has, and everything kind of flows through them. They have it's just, it's just a little bit less loose. So we might want to just kind of take a look at that and try to pull some stuff from it.
If you want to send me those
Yeah.
docs, I'm happy to look at them and add more
Okay,
based on, based on your comments from
all right.
what's
So
there.
then I think we should just do that and then send it to the committee, and they can take a look at it before our next meeting.
That's fine, but I want to get to, Marcy, do you have any input into this?
Can I ask which town?
No, well, I'd rather not say.
All set? All right,
I like the idea of, there's a person on the committee that's like a liaison to the applicant, assuming they're successful, obviously, successful applicant. And that the person kind of is the conduit to the board.
Right.
And there's, so you have that connection anyways. And you got someone that says, okay, Art, you're in charge of EBC and what's happening? I don't know, okay, no, try not to do that, but I think that's a good idea. I
And
like that.
I think typically it falls, we had this conversation once before, where it falls along the lines of who you're representing, So if you're a representative from Historic, then you might be,
Right.
you'd be the first person. Of course, we need to share the wealth,
If
but,
it's housing, well, it
yeah,
might be.
exactly,
Okay,
exactly,
no,
so.
that's a good way to break it down.
I'll set
it's
up.
just something.
Emily? John?
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea. Did you get any sense for how active the individual representatives are? I mean, what they're actually doing
Not
in
yet.
terms of being a contact?
Not yet.
Okay.
But I will ask about that. Okay?
Yeah.
So we'll follow up on that.
Thank you.
All set, John?
Yep.
Okay. Anything else from anybody? Well, we'll move on. So I guess Kathy and Mary, you have your marching orders again.
I'm happy to continue to assist Kathy in her efforts to date the grant agreement.
All righty, thank you. Okay, next, discussion of the CPC recognition sign options.
Okay.
I'm good. Do you want to open this up?
Sure,
Go ahead.
So we're just trying to expand on our initiative from the last year and a half, where we came up with the logo, and we had lawn signs, we had banners. Some was successful, some were not. A lot of it is weather-related. I think that what we found was that the banners are a great temporary sort of notification that work very well on fencing, et cetera, like if something is being in the process of being a construction site, or that we're funding or something like that. The lawn signs just seem to go too quickly, and weather-related, that kind of thing, so I'm not really sure they're worth the money. But we've been talking about coming up with more permanent signage. Oh, I forgot the sign in my car. I took the sign away from the library. So the library has had a sign right on their corner
That's what's happening in science.
So there's a little sign that's been on the corner of the library on Bank Street and Main Street there, or whatever it is, for the longest time, and it just says, it's a wooden sign. And they actually modeled that after an Eastham sign. And it just says, community preservation funding, something. There's been comments over the years that people have been confused when a new project starts at the library, thinking that it's still Community Preservation Act funds that are being used, and it's not really. So I said to Ginny, I said, just pull it out of the ground, and, then she just gave it to me, so I've got it as a model.
Sure.
But what we talked about was maybe doing something more permanent that was, could be adhered to a building, to the side of a building, that wasn't necessarily gaudy or, a thing like that. I know that there's a sign, there's sign ordinances, I understand that. And I know that there's also some signage issues to deal with historic buildings. So we've got to factor that all in and everything like that. But I, just in trying to figure out what we wanted to do is how I came up with this. And what we're trying to accomplish was recognition of taxpayer-funded projects, reminders to taxpayers to support future CPA projects, and generalized support for CPA funding in the town of Harwich. And then what do we want these signs to look like? We want them to be consistent in their size, font, color, material, simple, generic, affordable, weather-resistant, and as permanent as we can make them. How do we do this? We speak with new applicants about signage and our expectations. So in other words, when the applicants come in this year, we talk to them. We don't usually talk to them about the signage. We just assume that they're gonna read it in the guidelines.
Right.
And then after the fact, sometimes we say, well, what about signage? Okay, so I think we need to get it up front with the new applicants. And then with past applicants, we need to talk about signage and what our expectations are. And I think it depends on whether they actually, when they did their project, as to whether it was in the guidelines or not. Because some projects are very, very old. We may want to have some signage, and it might not, they might not have been aware of it, or we might not have written it down anywhere, so we can't really say that they have to. So I think we need to kind of find our way.
So where does the library fit into that?
I think it depends on what we decide to do with the signage. And also, they're a historic building, so we've got to deal with that too.
Well, that's an interesting dilemma then. Because if it's a historic building, whether or not it is historic, it comes into the bucket of the CPC. They get the money, they sign the grant agreement, they get a
Right,
sign.
They still have to come to historic for approval, so what I was gonna suggest is.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry, you're a chair.
So, one of the things that we're working on is essentially a historic preservation award. It's one of the things that, Paul Doan had brought up for us to do. There's no reason, and I would think it should apply for all of our signs, whether they're for historic buildings or not. We can come up with, acceptable size, color, and style. I guess my question would be, is our expectation that we are paying for those signs out of administrative funds, or is our expectation that the applicant will actually pay for that out of their own funds as a permanent marker? And I think if we come up with design guidelines, like we do in historic districts, for the permanent markers, because I think different colors will be appropriate on different buildings, and different sizes might be more appropriate on different buildings. One, place might need a smaller one, one might need a larger one. But if we come up with some design guidelines that we're okay with, historic could bless the ones that are in the historic district, and then at least it's a matter that they wouldn't necessarily have to come before us for, putting up a sign such as that.
Well, I'd like to come up with something that is as generic as possible, that we can use, whether it's a historic building or not. And the sizes, we can get a variety of sizes, and if it's simple enough,
Yeah.
but just, straightforward, but not, out there, it would be acceptable, hopefully, on a historic building as on a different,
Historic, it's gonna be mostly a color, right? So
Yeah.
it's gonna depend on the color. We've approved non-wooden signs, in the district, we've approved metal signs. It just depends on the individual building and what it,
right,
what the style is in that kind of vicinity. But, when I think of like the permanent markers, I think of like the National Historic Register markers or things of that sort. And it's similar to what you've shown us in the picture.
well, actually, what I showed you in the picture here is a very, not very expensive, okay? Because I wanted to see if there was something out there that we could easily support
Yeah.
with admin funds. In other words, if we decided that we wanted to go forward with this, and we decided on the wording, blah, 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 and we got permission, we could order, 20 assorted signs, okay? And we could decide where they were gonna go, obviously with discussions with the building, people, et cetera. So, the thing is that a lot of our applicants are historic, so that would be the most visible kind of place. There are some things that don't really lend themselves to signage, like the cemeteries, the work at the cemetery. It doesn't really lend itself to that kind of thing. I mean, you're not gonna put it on fencing, you're not gonna put it on the mausoleums that were like.
No, but I think you could put it at the entrances to just say that,
Yeah, maybe.
gravestone restoration supported by the taxpayers of Harwich through CPC.
I mean, I think it's really gonna be a case-by-case kind of thing.
I don't disagree with
I mean,
that.
places like the South Harwich Meeting House, and the
Right.
Brooks Free Library, and the Brooks Museum, Academy Museum, and Elmer Prohl Barn, those are very visible, they'd get a lot of traffic, it could be something that would work in our favor, okay? And I also think that things like, anything having to do with housing, we don't really want to identify.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of not, I don't think they like to identify when something's been necessarily supported with,
$1 million, $2 million, $3 million.
well,
I'm sorry, I have a problem with that.
no, it's not that they don't want to acknowledge who supported them, it's that not necessarily do they want to,
Call
like sort of
attention to the
call attention
affordable.
to the fact that it's an affordable housing development. Okay, just for example.
But that's why we call it community housing and not affordable
Right,
housing.
okay, so for example, like Forward at the Rock, okay, in Dennis there, there's no signage there, and that's by design, okay? So I'm just saying, there are some things that are not gonna necessarily lend themselves to it. So, anyway,
Just for a moment.
yeah,
Is antique brass considered historic,
I think it depends on the
the application?
application of the building and where it is. I think it's an easy thing to put on the historic agenda and have us talk about it in even an inexpensive, non-wooden, sign. We can still look at it, might still be in the appropriate colors, might still work. Would I love to see an antique brass or a black iron, sign? Sure. Particularly on the kind of bookend buildings that I
Right.
think deserve it, but,
well,
I think it's an easy thing for us to, when this board comes up with some designs, we can then take it to historic and show materials
right.
and size and see what people say.
So these signs that I found online were aluminum. They're pre-drilled with 2 holes or 4 holes. They can be one-sided or two-sided, depending upon if they're gonna stand freely or be on a building. They come in different colors. I thought like silver and black was the simplest and least annoying for anybody. They come in sizes from 8 by 8s to 24 by 18 or whatever, so you could do a variety of sizes. But there was some feedback from a past applicant who said that it's confusing to people who see signs like this because they assume that we funded things that we didn't fund. If a sign says, you know, that this various projects were supported or whatever. I don't really know what the answer for that is unless you put the dates of projects on something. But then there are maybe some past applicants who may not want to have all the dates on because it does really show the amount of funding that they have received over the last, say, 20 years.
Well, like, I think if you're talking something like.
I'm just saying, it's like,
I mean, it's taxpayer money one way or another. and
That's
it's been
exactly
voted
right.
time.
Why wouldn't we wanna
I
let the
agree.
taxpayers know exactly what we're
But
spending
like,
that money on?
the only way to solve that problem, in my own opinion, is to do it more like a plaque where you're adding,
right,
you know, each project onto it.
right.
And I don't know that that's,
I don't think that's not practical for us right
There
so
now.
is
one of the things
another-
that we
All right,
talked about in
Hold
historic.
on for 1 second. John,
There is another way to address this, which I'm sure you'll all love, is you just put a QR code, if you have one of these aluminum signs,
stamp.
put on it, you can add a QR code which will send anybody with a phone who wants to point their phone at the QR code to a website which will enumerate those particular projects. And you can have a QR code that is specific to that specific site. And so you don't clutter the sign with a bunch of dates, but anybody who wants to find out what it's talking about, they can go to the website and find that information. It wouldn't be a huge, you know, departure from what's already on the CPC webpage. You know, it's just a question of organizing the information and putting it online.
I like that thought. Art,
Well, first of all, let me say, I like the idea with signs and banners and flags and all this good stuff. I like that. I like the idea generally. But I look at this, I think there's 2 phases to this. There's the beginning phase when there's construction going on or the project is unfolding, however it unfolds. And that should be like a visible sign to the community that they can see that CPC is supporting this and the town is supporting this, and for this particular project, and of course you can state what the project is. You know, like the basketball courts or the pickleball courts, there's a sign there, these pickleball courts are being sponsored by yada, yada, yada. Then, when the project is complete, I think maybe as a future reference, as John is pointing out here, maybe like a platform, and it doesn't have to be attached to the building, it could be in a lobby area, it could be in a hallway, or whatever we're looking at buildings now, and a smaller plaque saying that such and such a project of this nature was taking place at a certain time, and with CPC funds. And then it's a permanent, and then it could have the URL, and if you want the whole write-up on it, you could download it and go from there. But I think we need like 2 layers of signage on a project. Maybe a second layer, like with, maybe the pickleball courts might not materialize because there's no real place to attach it. But I believe in it, definitely, when the pickleball courts are, I'm just using that as an example, being built, there should be a sizable banner there so the town knows where their money's going.
I took care of that.
You took care of, out of your own pocket?
There is a sign there.
I know there's a sign there, and I applaud that, I think that's great. And the sign that Kathy's talking about at the library, I go by there all the time, because I live right around the corner. And I keep saying to myself, when are they gonna take the sign down? You know? Because it was for a specific project,
It was.
for specific expenditure, and that's long since gone away and been done. And so now it's a time to move that sign inside, or, you know, give a little plaque to the director's library or whatever. Anyways,
Okay.
keep up the good work.
Marcy?
Yeah, speaking of signs, I love the one at the Academy, Bruce Academy, because it's so eye-catching, and I can see it, because I go by there every day at work. And the design, Kathy, where it's supported, by the CPC funds, and thank you to taxpayers of Harwich, I think that's huge, I think that's really good to put that on there. And then also with John's idea, with the QR code, because people don't have a lot of attention span, so they rather just take their phone and do it that way. You know, it's just quicker. My only thing is, so after years, the sign's gonna deteriorate, and who's responsible to keep up those signs? Is that gonna be part of the applicant? Are they responsible for the upkeep, or is that on us? Because they're gonna weather, they're not gonna stay like that. That's just another consideration.
Well, depending on the material.
Exactly. But it's still gonna,
Yeah.
it's still gonna weather regardless.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's something, if it's cost efficient, it could be something that, you know, like every 5 years, we, you know, redo the signage, you know, or something like that, you know. I don't think having the applicants be responsible, because they're not gonna follow through. We'd have to have the personnel that, you know, nag them, and we wouldn't necessarily get the consistency, and we want consistency, so.
Emily?
I like the idea of the call to action, when John said, I was going to go where you just, with Kathy. Is there a way, when you brought up the historic ones, I took a walk in Chatham today, and the preservation ones that they have are beautiful and long lasting, and I have no idea exactly how much they cost, I'm sure they're not cheap, but like something like that, that has that longevity and is very classy and whatnot, feels like something that they wanna have on their, someone would have to have in the building, so it's just.
Did you take a photograph of them?
I didn't, I can look and see if I have one, but I mean, I didn't
We
really
need that
catch
one.
it.
Because that's one of the things that we've talked about was looking at theirs in particular, and as far as historic is concerned, kind of doing a two-pronged approach. One, having the preservation award on the building itself or on the, you know, the location, but then also having a plaque in town hall or at the community center that lists out who the award recipients are. And you could do a similar thing with CPC funding if you wanted to.
Where would I find the plaque?
They're on whatever house,
Yeah, right on Main Street
Are
there.
you talking about like historic preservation awards, the ones that are like in bronze or something like
yeah,
that?
I mean,
Yeah,
I know they're.
they're very expensive.
But
What-
is there a way to build it into the application process, like, and have a vendor where you're like, okay, here's your 5 choices, and
Maybe,
people, once they're supposed to do it, they click on it, they get it, and if they don't, we choose for them, and it shows up.
yeah, maybe.
Which building can I go to tomorrow morning and take a look? Because I'm working in Chatham.
I'll find it. Give me
Okay.
I'm gonna go on the
Alrighty.
city's website and find my walking route, and I'll find it.
I find this idea that you have fascinating. Can that QR code be stamped into a metal
Yes.
product?
Yes.
I'm gonna show you,
They
because
have-
I'm involved in this Harwich Ponds Coalition, and we're offering these aluminum signs for taking a pond pledge. It's, you know, it's about taking care of the ponds, and I just had it up here. The QR code is just, and it's colored graphics on an aluminum sign, and it looks great, except now I've lost it. I'll show it to you in a moment. I have it right
So if
here.
it goes to a website,
Oh, excuse me for one second.
Here.
Can that
She-
go to, can that be stamped on an antique brass?
Well, I don't know about antique brass. Probably not. If
Just
it's
a-
just brass with, it doesn't have printing on it, a cell phone has to be able to read it, or a camera has to be able to look at it and see the black and white, or.
Okay, all right, I got it, yep. Go ahead,
I've seen
I'm
a lot
sorry.
of them as
Go ahead, Kath.
stickers. That
Yeah,
they're
you-
Stickers on a sign.
You could,
And they could, I mean, I don't know why they couldn't be a metal sticker with a, a relief. It could be a bronze, it could be bronze with like a black relief, QR code stamped on it in the corner as opposed to like a raised thing.
well,
I'm
you
sure
can
there's
look
a
it
way.
up.
they
Somebody
can-
probably has thought about this
I'm
already.
sure they have. I'm
and
sure there are plenty more
Somebody
people have.
probably has a solution to the
Yeah.
problem, yeah.
You see them a lot now at like cemeteries. That's one of the things that cemeteries are, and funeral homes are offering people to do a QR code on a headstone, and it brings you to a video. It brings you to a video of the person, or it brings you to their obituary. I've seen them. It's become quite popular.
You could live forever.
So like you can do a QR code and you see like, Grandpa's video playing with Susie when she was 5 or whatever.
Holy mackerel.
It's a thing.
We're almost at the singularity now.
There we go.
Okay, go ahead, Kathy.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to understand from John. So the QR code takes you to what? What does it
Well,
take you
what I
to?
was just suggesting, it could take you to anything, but it could take you to, say, the simplest thing would be, it would take you to the Harwich CPC webpage where the project is listed, where the proposal that got the grant is listed. Or, if the point is that it's a project or an area where there are multiple grants over several years, it could just take you to a page where there's information, where the dates are listed and links to the proposals. I mean, there are a whole lot of different
I
ways
know,
of doing it.
what I'm trying to get at is the content. So, are you suggesting, is there a different QR code for each sign?
That, what I'm just describing would require a different QR code for each sign. On the other hand, you could just have a QR code that takes you to the CPC webpage where projects are listed.
Okay.
And then you would,
Every project that we've ever done?
well, we have that on the webpage.
I know, but who's gonna do that? I mean,
Who's gonna do which part?
well, who's gonna, like, open up the QR code or whatever you do with them?
If I was curious, I would, and go through the list. I
Okay,
mean, the list that you compiled for us
Here, Kathy.
it's got everything. So for 20 years worth of projects, so you can
Well,
look.
yeah, I'm just wondering, so then we have to have somebody on the other end who's gonna make sure that that stuff is always available, right?
But we're already doing that.
Okay, and we're gonna have somebody who's able to maintain that.
Well, look.
Well, that's
okay,
why we are in the process of doing that.
You have to have that anyway. And yes, I've been doing it for several years now. That's not gonna go on forever.
Exactly.
Exactly. And so there has to be a succession plan in place, which there is a very vague one in place right now.
And her name is Emily.
She's looking things up for us right now.
But, I don't know, the committee could decide, no, we're gonna
No,
go back to the
I
other
mean,
way
it's
of
an
doing
interesting
things.
thought, it's just that, we wanna make sure we had the follow-through.
Yeah.
Well, I think to John's point, the QR code, even if the QR code just pointed to that list,
Right.
it points to that list, and then you can, does that list have street addresses on it?
No, I don't
We
think
might
so.
be able to
Right.
add a column to that list with street addresses, and then people could see by street address.
So how are people gonna get people aren't gonna wanna scroll through an application. They only want some salient points about what they're looking at.
But your list isn't the whole application, your list is the,
I know, I'm just
Is the
wondering
project
how
of the
we
money.
get from the list to just some information.
So it'd be designing bullet points for each and individual.
I think the QR code points to the 22-year list. And if, maybe that list needs to add a column by street address, and then somebody can go in and sort by the building name or the street address. Then you sort by,
And somebody's gonna do that.
if you were curious, why not?
Versus just reading a sign, now, I'm just playing devil's advocate
Yep.
here, just reading a sign that says, you know, this was, some funding was provided, you know, with CPA funding. I mean, hey, okay, that's great. Just like,
It's,
Some taxpayers might wanna know more information.
if you go outside of this town at any point in time and use any kind of facility, no matter where it is, the QR code's there for whatever you want to access. They can go right into your bank account. So, for younger people, this is the norm.
right,
It's not the norm for us.
Plus they use it for donations as well.
that's true.
Venmo payments,
Which we're not
everything.
gonna do. We're not gonna do. But I also have some other,
Go ahead.
lines that are possibilities for the signage. Like this project was made possible with the support of the Harwich Community Preservation Fund. Or we thank the Harwich Community Preservation Fund for their generous support of this project. Or enhancements to the building were made possible by the generous support of, say, a foundation, private donors, and the Harwich Community Preservation Fund. So there's different things that we can say that can try to round out, you know, the acknowledgement. But I'm not sure that the code would address some of the concerns expressed to me by some individuals about confusion, about what's being funded and what's not. In the moment. Not, you can research, but in the moment.
So, there's a trade-off here. The more you want to give site-specific information to some random passerby in the street, the more effort you have to put in, regardless of what the specific way you're trying to do that. Whether it's redesigning the sign every time there's a new thing that goes on there,
I don't wanna
or
do that.
whether it's maintaining a web page and a website that gives specific information. Those things are gonna take time and energy and organization and sustained focus. So it's, regardless of how you go about it, so it's a decision that the committee has to make, right, about whether we're gonna commit to those things or not.
I don't know. I don't have an answer.
Board members' suggestions, any other suggestions?
The only thing I just noticed is, Chatham allows like historic buildings that have been identified as historic buildings to purchase a sign through like the Chatham Sign Company, and they have a whole application for it with how it can be designed, what can be on it, what materials are, what it costs. So, might be something to look at. I'll forward it to you, so you can see it.
Very expensive from Chatham Sign Company.
I don't, right, I don't disagree. I'm just saying like, as an example of what they have out there for,
Yeah,
these are your guidelines, this is what you can pick from, and if you're on this 650 building list, then you can go and get a sign for, you know, X amount, so. I can
Cost
just- I'll send
cost
it in.
aside, durability.
yeah. I don't think the wooden signs are as durable, the wooden painted ones.
So we'd be looking for some kind of metal material essentially.
I think it's more weather resistant.
I don't know, some of those, I mean, the Chatham signs are expensive, I agree, but, you know, I don't see too many that have deteriorated over the last 20, 25 years, to be honest with you.
Well,
You're supposed to wax them.
you're supposed to what?
wax them.
Yes.
Supposed to wax them with car wax.
I don't wax my own
And
vehicles.
touch up the gold leaf. I'm just saying that they're not,
But we're not gold leaf.
well, that's what all
We're
the
not
Chatham
talking-
signs
we're-
are made
That's what
of.
they are, right,
They
yeah.
are.
They are all gold leaf?
Not all of them,
Oh,
but the
yeah.
majority of them are.
Their emblems and their lettering are either gold or silver leaf 90% of the time.
So you're looking at $500 or
Yeah,
$1,000
so,
a unit?
and I don't think
They're
we're prepared
$600
to
signs,
do
yeah.
something like that, but we can certainly look into it, for sure.
I'm just saying,
Okay.
it's an example, if nothing else, it's an example of what they put out there to
Right.
people, so we could do something similar
Right.
with whatever we decide our example is.
Okay, any other discussion on this matter? So you're gonna look into it?
Look into what? I have no idea what we just, we didn't really decide
No,
anything.
but we're talking about the same thing, taking a look at what Chatham signs do, what they look like, what the cost
I think we'll put
is,
it on our agenda for the next meeting,
and
come
we'll
back
have a
with more
discussion.
pictures and,
Okay.
Unless you wanna pawn this off on someone else.
No, that's, I mean, I'm, happy to look at the Chatham
Oh.
signs.
nice.
So they do these, which are really simple, but then they have other ones too, and that's what I can't find. They're like more of a rectangular,
Mhm.
have more information, but, I mean, these are, there's enough ones.
Is that wood?
No, it's
Doesn't look, it looks like it's metal.
But there's also some of the new woods made of rice that are impervious to,
Wood made of rice?
yeah,
Haven't heard of this.
yeah, it's a new product in construction they're using on exterior trim. Yeah, it's,
Oh, so,
it's
so
dense.
replacing,
Like corn, we have it on our house.
Okay, there you go.
Corn.
You use hardy plank, for God's sakes, and,
this is replacing AZAC and that sort of
Yes.
yes.
thing?
Yes,
Because of people's concerns about plastic?
stick,
Wow.
It also doesn't like expand or contract and all that stuff.
where AZAC does,
Right.
over a period of time, it will expand and contract. It's really something. But anyway, so, are we all set?
David's gonna go
It-
to Chatham
it-
tomorrow morning and take lots of pictures.
Well, yeah, I am, actually. I'll be in Chatham anyway.
All right. Jane, we're photographed.
Oh, thanks. Are you okay with this?
I'm-
Taking a gander?
Well, I'm not really sure what I'm being charged to do here.
Just see what kind of signs they produce, what they have, what the costs are, just so we can get a ballpark idea.
Of who?
Chatham signs.
Okay,
I think you're gonna be,
I think
we're
we're,
gonna price ourselves out of the market in
Right.
that one. It's
I mean, I have
quite
no
without
problem in
doubt.
getting an example of one of them, but I need more to work on here. I mean,
I'd love to know where
My
these are
question-
coming from.
My question to the board is, if it's highly durable and it's gonna last 10, 15, 20 years, and there's a significant output of funds to do it, wouldn't it be better just to do it without replacing these units every 5 or 6 years, whatever?
I see your point. I'd rather see a nicer looking plaque and spend the money once than,
John?
but I don't know what that's gonna look like and what that price is gonna
Well,
be, so.
we don't know what the longevity of any of these things
No.
are. And
Right.
these aluminum signs look like they're gonna last for a while, but I don't know whether it's 5 years or 15 years or only 2 years. But if you go out and go for a walk in the new Coldbrook area, HCT has a bunch of metal signs up in there, which are, I believe, I think they're like keep off the grass kinds of
Okay,
signs.
yeah.
But they are these aluminum signs printed in color
yeah,
on these things, and you can get some sense close up, but if you can buy one of those things for $40,
Right.
why don't we just, settle on a nominal design and order one and have a look at it?
yeah, well, I was
and
gonna
see-
do that anyway.
Yeah, well, that
Yeah.
seems like,
Okay, all right. Is the board good with that?
I just
Marcy.
have a suggestion, so, I don't know if it's a conflict of interest, but I know somebody that works on signs, it's not Chatham
Well, I think
say
once
that.
we get a little closer to what we're looking at, we'll certainly be open to other ideas or places to check out. But yeah, I think you're right, John.
And
If
I
we're
will,
purchasing them, we have to comply
I
with
will find
procurement anyway, so.
the contact for
Okay.
what those signs are made and send you that. I didn't do that, but I can find out where they.
And I
were
certainly
done.
can talk to HCT and find out, where they had their signage done and how much the cost of it was and that kind of thing.
I can tell you what they haven't done.
Oh, there we go.
There we go, yeah. Okay, all right, are we set? More or less?
More or less.
All right, moving on. Updated financial report, but before we get into that, we have a new liaison to the CPC, and I'd like him to identify himself in the audience.
Hi CPC, Jeff Handler here, your new liaison. Thank you for having me.
Okay, good. Updated financial report. Actually, I had a discussion with Selectman Handler today. Would you like to go through that from the information from the finance director that he provided for us?
No, you can, you've got the mic.
Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, so, C1 and C2 part of the report to DOR has been done by the finance director. I'm not sure if Kathy or Mary did the CP3.
I do.
Okay, so you did that? So we're good to go there. The other thing, I had a chat with the interim finance director, and we're kind of where we were a few years back. They're gonna wait till they close the books, or he's gonna wait till they close the books. There's no definitive time on that, or there is, but I'd rather not put that in public. When that happens, he said to me that we'll have the ability to use the actual numbers, rather than do what we've been doing the past few years, which is estimates.
Amen, hallelujah.
I knew that was coming. So, it's just a matter of time. Again, we know roughly what the numbers are gonna be through what we've done in the past and how it works out, but hopefully, we're gonna have different results this year. And it will come from the finance director, interim finance director. I gotta make sure I use that word. So, any questions about that? Okay, any questions about you've all got a chance to look at the report, the update? Any questions on the update? Hearing none, moving on. Annual dues for the Community Preservation Coalition. I don't think the dues have gone up, it's still $4,350.
I move that we approve a payment of $4,350 as our annual dues to the Community Preservation Coalition.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second, discussion. And for the liaison, every year, we get a bill from the Community Preservation Coalition, and that's what we're doing, we're in the process of paying that bill. So, any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous, thank you. Okay, status report of Lower Cape Housing Institute. Do we have that report?
Yeah, y'all emailed it.
Okay, I can't get into that one.
You can look at mine, eh?
Are there any questions of,
70-something pages long.
holy moly?
Yeah.
43 pages.
What? Oh, 200 and something pages, okay, yeah, it's a lot of material. I think it's unnecessary for them to send us that much material. Truthfully.
Any discussion? All right,
None.
John. Kathy? Mary? Marcy? Emily? No? Okay. We're good to go. Old business, social media, Facebook.
I sent, a couple posts out to join applications, and those will be posted shortly, and I have a couple more to send on, but let's keep it going. How are we? Do we have any applications?
No,
They just all come in at the last minute.
I think last year I was looking at the applications that came in last year, and if I remember right, the first one came in on the 26th of September.
And for the general public's information, October 1st is the deadline,
Which is a Wednesday.
Wednesday, at 4 o'clock. So, I actually got chased down last year in the parking lot when I was leaving.
And the online application is online, it's up, it's been there for now a couple of months, and accessible to anybody. Jan was asking me about whether there's information there about the possibility for people with Town of Harwich email credentials to save their draft applications, which has been something that's come up in the past, and my understanding is that yes, that's possible, and there is a sentence about that on the first page of the online application.
Okay. Anything from anybody else? All right, so, next meeting agenda points. Go
We have
ahead.
two
Yep.
that we know of, there's three. Okay, future agenda points would be the Kathy coming back with the options for the signs, and
Revised grant agreement.
Kathy and Mary talking about grant agreements. And the third one is, it's already update status reports time.
Okay, I don't want to hit this too hard, but those grant agreements, can they take priority? Depending on your time?
Yes.
All right, I appreciate that, thank you. All right, does anybody want anything on the agenda for the next meeting?
Well, we'll have to talk about
The application.
lining up the meetings for, yeah, depending upon the number of applications we have. Because we usually end up having 2 in November, 2 in December, or, whatever. We don't usually put a second one in October, but, it depends on the number of applications we get.
Right. Okay, so we know that's going to be on the agenda, and we have the other 3. Is there anything anybody else would like on the agenda? Art?
That is an agenda item, but just a little background information, because I'm a fairly new member. How do the applications filter in? Do they just kind of slide them under the door, or they just come all through at once?
Well,
We're online.
they're online, and there will be paper copies submitted to administration. And
But the paper copies are only for Jan to
Right.
distribute, not for us.
Do we
They're
have any
all-
applications
They're
yet?
online now.
not yet,
Not yet.
no,
What, they get submitted through the online form,
right,
they're PDFs,
Mhm.
and when they come in, I will post them on the webpage so members have access to them. That's what I've done in the past.
done in the past, yep.
So we don't have any pre-notion of any suspects out there? No rumblings?
Nope.
Wow.
Just a question.
Mary?
Did we, in years past, we've set a subsequent date, like a December date for approvals from
That's in there,
underlying
that's in the
committees? Is that
guidelines.
in there already? I couldn't remember.
Yep.
December 1st.
That's what I thought it was, in the back of my head, but I just couldn't remember whether we did it this year or last year when 7 years ago at this point.
It all rolls into one
It's all
after a
rolled
while.
into one.
Okay, John, anything for that you would like on the agenda?
No.
Next agenda. Kathy? Mary?
Nothing.
Marcy? Emily? Okay,
And that meeting is October 9.
Move we adjourn.
Are we doing the updates then or not? Didn't quite get it.
Oh, so
Do
are
we
the
have-
updates due in October?
Yeah. Are we?
I think we should have everybody send in an update.
I'd rather do them in October than in November, once the applications are all in.
right,
Right.
that makes sense.
So that's a yes?
Yes,
Okay, and Kathy, did you ever get that sheet? The cheat sheet for people to submit for update
Yeah, I
statuses?
have it.
Was that yes or no?
I'll
yes.
send it to you.
Thank you. I'll send that out to the reporters then. I'm not calling them applicants anymore. I'll call them representatives.
Okay.
Project representatives.
So are we requesting for the updates in person or just
Paper.
paper?
Oh, just the written, eh?
Paper's fine with me.
Paper's
All
fine.
right, paper, written, no oral reports.
I mean, most of them haven't even started yet.
Yeah, exactly.
They
Right.
don't have their money, they don't have anything, so. I don't know that you're gonna get a lot of updates.
All right, so, motion on the floor.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good night, folks.